What's going on, everybody? Appreciate you for tuning in to On the Ball podcast. It's a different night, Monday night, same time. This will probably be, the day going forward, but we'll see. Uh, different night, same energy, same info. Have a lot of fun talking about it. We're a week and a day away from the NBA. So I will say next week we will focus a lot more on the NBA and season preview and everything like that. But we do have a lot of NFL to get into tonight. As you guys are coming on in, appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. You obviously let us know how you're feeling in the chat about anything we talk about, any questions, any topics you may want us to talk about. Feel free to do that. But before we get into everything, he's not guarding the 2, he's guarding the 3. Brett, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing great. I'm really excited to talk some football, so let's get it.
Absolutely. So, like I said, we'll talk a lot about football, but I do have a bit of an NBA topic to talk about here just to start off with. I don't know if you've seen this. So with everything, TNT and then the NBA's new deal, there were questions about what's going to happen with NBA TV because NBA TV was part of like the TNT stuff, but we only heard about inside the NBA moving to ESPN, nothing about NBA TV. It turns out the NBA itself is going to take over NBA TV and use it as the little quotes say, they want it to be like your all access spot for basketball content. And I'll tell you here in a second, like some of the things that they're planning to put on there. What's going on, Pavel? Go Blue Jays. Okay. For me, it's anybody but the Yankees. So, hey, I'm good with that. I think Blue Jays Mariners will be a fun series. Go Lakers. Well, as a Celtics fan, I can't really get down with that, but it's all good. So yeah, let me tell you, I guess, Brett, some of the things that they are looking to do with the channel, and you tell me if this interests you, because it says it's going to start Wednesday through the NBA app. So they're looking to do their new program, their flagship program is going to be called The Association, which will have a panel of MJ Acosta Ruiz, David Fizdale, Rudy Gay, Chris Haynes, and John Wall, which would basically be the new version of NBA Game Time Live. So I guess that's going to be like the studio show you see nightly on the new NBA app, which makes a lot of sense. That's what most of these channels do anyway. They also want to expand it to include several international basketball leagues, such as the Australian League, French League, German League, Spanish League, Chinese and Korean basketball leagues. They want to show games from those leagues on the app as well. So they're going to design it to be a global hub for basketball coverage, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, seamless, always-on digital experience through the app. They also said they're going to do content from big NBA creators like Jenna Bandy and Tristan Jass and people like that. And there'll also be podcasts as well through the app. So I guess with all that, I guess this can't be looked at as anything but potentially a good move by the NBA doing this. I guess, how interested are you, based off of those details, there's probably more, in the new NBA TV, NBA app?
Yeah, I think it's a great move. You can never go wrong with more content, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that they're expanding it too to, podcasters and I especially like the global, expanding the game globally and putting it all on, the NBA app. That would be sick. I myself have stayed up till 3 a.m. to watch Australian basketball before. It's actually pretty good. So overall, especially if you're a basketball sicko, this sounds absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. And any way that it can bring, I guess, people's eyes to other leagues around around the world, I should say, especially with the NBA trying to become. I mean, it's already an international game, but I feel like they're trying to have their roots more in the international game. And now, when you get to the draft, maybe by using the app, you may learn some of these international players and what their game is like. So you kind of feel more informed about them. So I think in that aspect, smart. I'm down for that.
Maybe Stephen A will finally learn their names.
He'll stick to the binder. He pays people to do that for him. But I mean, I guess technically, yes, he could. At least the bigger names internationally, he should be able to know a little bit about them now. And I guess the little studio show, interested to see how that dynamic works. Rudy Gay, John Wall, some ex-players, Chris Haynes, a reporter. So, that could be a lot of fun.
I'm down. I'm excited to see it. Say it's starting in 2 days. It'll be great. I'll definitely be checking it out.
Right. I mean, it should be a lot of fun. All right, so let's go ahead and get into some NFL. Well, if Jory is here in the chat, I'm sure she's ready for this one. Old Brian Callahan, favorite of the show, finally saw his walking papers today. And as it says, start of his second year, they're 1-5. In his time with the Titans, he's only won 4 games. So not really a lot of reasons to sit here and be like, oh man, they should have held on to him. Nah, it was probably his time to go. So I guess when you look at the situation, I think the timing of it is interesting. Because this week, the Titans have the Patriots come to Tennessee with old coach Mike Vrabel. And we've seen what Vrabel's done with the Patriots. That was probably the last nail in the coffin for Callahan, because the last thing you need is Vrabel bringing his new team in there, getting a win, and fans just losing their minds over Brian Callahan stinking it up once again. So I felt like the organization was like, that we can't have that happen, so move on from him. I will say the interim coach is going to be Mike McCoy, who you might know from his time with the Chargers, I believe, I think it was a head coach with the Chargers for a little bit. I think he was like QB coach out there for some years. He was on the staff. He was the quarterback coach with Cam Ward. So he is now going to be the interim head coach. What are your thoughts on this? Do you like the timing of it? Do you think it should have been done before? You think they should have done the thing that teams like to do and wait till the bye to do this? What do you think about the timing of moving on from Brian Callahan?
I mean, realistically, they shouldn't have let him out of the locker room after game 1.
Right.
In all reality, I'm kind of salty because I predicted he'd get fired after he loses to the Patriots. So It's like literally like a week too early. So no, but it's obviously the right call. Brian Callahan, there's no other way to put it. He was terrible. Terrible game management, clock management. Players seem to just tune him out. Like, even the one game he won this year, it was the most flukiest win you will ever see. So I'm glad they're getting rid of him, and said I'm just hoping that they get the next one right. A lot of interesting candidates, guys like Joe Brady. I think I like him. He can be a very interesting fit with Cam Ward. So overall, the only thing I'll blast the Titans for is making this move like 5 weeks too late. But they finally made the right move. So
yeah,
good riddance to Brian Callahan.
Yeah. I was kind of along your line of thinking. I thought after the Patriots game would have been the absolute time to do it because that would have been that moment where they're staring at their past with Vrabel and the current with Callahan and noticing the difference and just being like, okay, Callahan's not on the level that Vrabel is. Let's just go ahead, clear out, and get somebody new. So you brought up Joe Brady, which I feel like he's going to be obviously a hot name out there because of what he's done with the Bills. Josh Allen, obviously seen as a good offensive mind. My thought about this is Callahan was an offensive guy, and I actually forgot about this. I believe Callahan comes from the McVay tree, which, look, not everybody's tree is going to be, it's not going to bloom roses. Sometimes you get some thorns. Callahan was a thorn. But what if the Titans decide to go defensive with their coach? So I was looking at a couple of names. Brian Flores, which, if you watch the network enough, there's enough people on here who feel like Brian Flores deserves a job. I think Flores could give you some Vrabel-like energy. And then another name, this one might be a little bit more hesitant about. Vance Joseph, the DC from the Broncos, does have head coaching experience. Wasn't great, but the Broncos have a really good defense, as do the Vikings. I feel like those two would be interesting names. Obviously, those two would have to bring in good offensive coordinators to help Cam Ward's development. But those are two names I thought of, although I will say Joe Brady is not a bad name whatsoever. Do you think they should go offensive or a defensive type guy?
I'd say I really wouldn't mind them going offensive, especially if it is Brady. Here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
I get Callahan technically was an offensive guy, but under, Joe Brady, you saw some very, real improvements with Josh Allen and making smarter reads, not turning the ball over as much. So it's one of those things where, I can look at him and go, oh, he did more than just hold Joe Burrow's water cup while he's out, playing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Joe Brady's fine, but if they win a defensive-minded head coach too, I would get it, but I'd probably go offensive-minded just to make this transition a little easier for Cam Ward.
And, I mean, that is fair. When you use that kind of capital on quarterback number one, you probably should do everything you can to, help their development and everything like that, which is why I guess if you do go defensive, you have to have a plan as to what those defensive coaches would do on the offensive side of the ball, which I guess with Vance Joseph, if he brought somebody from Peyton's offensive staff, sure, maybe. And for Flores, if he brought somebody from Kevin O'Connell's offensive staff, I feel like there could be something there. But look, he's the first coach that's gone. Maybe not everybody's thought, what's going on, Key, for the first coach fired, but got to start somewhere. Maybe this gets the ball rolling. And with that, go to this next guy.
I think he was the only answer to being the first coach fired. Even this guy didn't deserve to be fired as badly as Brian Callahan.
And that's fair. Now, I think with Callahan being dismissed, eyes will probably turn to Miami. The interesting part of this is Adam Schefter went on, I believe it's Pat McAfee, and they asked him about this. And according to Adam Schefter, who we know is, I guess, kind of tied into the NFL, he doesn't see a coaching move being done anytime soon. Doesn't see the head coach losing his job. McDaniel has come under criticism. He doesn't see it happening soon. Okay. And then McDaniel talked about Tua, who all of a sudden, I feel like Tua makes more noise at the podium than he does on the field. And Tua let us all know that players only meeting and not everybody was showing up. So McDaniel said, felt like that was the wrong place and wrong time to bring that up, which you feel like Tua should be smart enough to know that, but hey, Tua's like, at this point, I don't care. So if you listen to Schefter's quote, does that mean there's something more likely to happen to Tua before McDaniel?
Yeah, no. Well, Tua should just be done sooner rather than later. I know they have to keep him next year because of money, but no, reality, he's at the end of his rope. Tua should just be done. I find that funny how he's calling out, leadership in a players-only meeting. Yeah. Because a lot of people are first like, well, what's Mike McDaniels doing? And I'm just like, you do realize he said in a players-only meeting. Exactly. That more so means they tuned out the leader among players, which most people associate with the quarterback. Most people associate with Tua being the leader of that team, but it's pretty clear as day with those comments that maybe that's part of the problem. There is no leader in that locker room.
Mm-hmm.
So I found that to be really funny. Tua trying to calling out his teammates, almost just straight up called himself out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is just a disaster. Mike McDaniels needs to go. Tua needs to go. They just need to throw the whole thing over and start again.
I mean, I've seen articles going out there where there's some thought that maybe the Dolphins should turn it over to Quinn Ewers. I mean, hey, if the season's going nowhere, why not see if Quinn Ewers can play better than he did in the preseason? Because based off the preseason, it seems like Ewers is not going to be a good quarterback. But maybe you catch some lightning in the bottle, and he looks better. Why not? If you're McDaniel, you're going to lose your job anyway. Why not just play him?
I would give him a shot.
Throw people under the bus. I don't get that from Tua at all. But it seems like Tua and accountability have not met each other. This man's out here throwing picks like crazy, but talking about leadership and what everybody else isn't doing. How about worrying about what you're not doing, which is not putting your team in a position to score because you're giving the ball away? And he threw another terrible pick, which most of them this season have been absurd for a guy who's been in the league as long as Tua has. I forget Zach Wilson is actually in Miami.
Just jump right to Quinn Ewers at that point.
Yeah.
You already know Zach Wilson, isn't it? And look, Quinn Ewers probably isn't it either, but maybe he gives you the spark he needs.
Exactly. I think that's what you're looking for with that Dolphins team. Somebody just to shift the energy, because the team is just headed towards the bottom of the drain right now. All right. Here's
Tua for somebody.
Interesting. Oh, what did you say?
No, I'd say Tua for somebody who's supposed to be so good at taking care of the ball as one of his calling cards is just throws so many mind-boggling picks.
Mm-hmm. I don't get it. Like, that was supposed to be what made up for his kind of weaker arm, was his ability to be smart. Well, not so much. All right, so this one, I only added this because Greeny, who we all know, Jets fan, is loved by whatever, but he's a big Jets fan on ESPN. He is frustrated, which I feel like every Jets fan should be frustrated at this point. And Greeny threw this out there about the Jets hitting rock bottom. Now, he thinks that the team has talent, it's just not coming together. And I guess he's looking to point the finger towards Aaron Glenn, which I was looking at some other articles and stuff, and there are some people who are like, could Aaron Glenn be one and done in New York? Do you think that is fair to put this version of the Jets and the mess that they're in on first-year head coach Aaron Glenn?
So my first question is, where's the talent?
That was my thing as well.
And that's kind of where I'm confused, right? They do have some talent, but every team has some talent.
Right.
Yes, Sauce Gardner has 2 All-Pros. Garrett Wilson is a very good wide receiver, but once we start getting past those two, like, where are we finding the extra talent? Like Quinnen Williams, fine, great player. I just think that, one, this is overestimating how much talent the Jets have. So I don't think it's fair to say this is all Aaron Glenn. Maybe part of this is an Aaron Glenn problem. I think a bigger problem is their quarterback play, and I don't think it doesn't matter who you have as coach, that you're not saving Justin Fields. Like, his best year was last year under Tomlin, and he didn't exactly light the world on fire. They replaced him with washed Russ as soon as they could. So overall, I don't agree with this. I think if with this logic, this is me acting like they have, like, to me, him saying this is the Ravens situation, right? They have too many good players to be this bad. Baltimore can say that.
Yeah.
But the Jets, I'm looking at them like, I just don't see it. Like, I just think that this is a flawed and bad football team. Like, that's who they were always meant to be. Like, you can argue that they should be better, but my counter question is how much better?
Yeah.
Like, instead of 0 wins, should they have 1 win? Maybe 2? Like I said, I think coaching very well could be a problem. I actually think coaching is a problem. It's been very bad. But to pile this all on Aaron Glenn, I think that's just a bit unfair, because then now that is just overestimating how good the New York Jets were coming into the year.
Yeah. Sorry, I missed it. It's all good. It's all good, Jordan.
I'm trying to think.
If you wanted to go back to it for a second, we could definitely do that for you. Yeah, I don't know if you want to necessarily set the precedent of pinning this on Aaron Glenn, especially for Greeny working on ESPN that does have a platform. Kind of spreading this doesn't necessarily seem fair to Aaron Glenn. Is it Aaron Glenn's fault that you and I had more net passing yards than Justin Fields did Sunday morning? Because he was, negative 18 when you count the sacks, which that's another issue that, he brought over from Chicago, holding the ball too long. And for a team that's talented, as Greeny said, I feel like the operation probably should look a little better. But I feel like if you're going to bring in Aaron Glenn, which obviously the reasoning for that was, everything that happened with Saleh, Aaron Rodgers was just something you wanted to wash your hands from. Glenn's coming from the Dan Campbell Lion environment. I assume they wanted to bring that to New York. So how are you going to sit here and, 5-6 games in, act like Aaron Glenn is the major issue? He hasn't been there long enough to change the culture. So if you want to direct your anger anywhere, maybe towards the front office and, how they handle the quarterback situation, because it looks like Fields isn't the guy, despite his strong play, I guess, in the preseason, hasn't translated to the regular season. And then just keep going back from there. Zach Wilson, no longer there. Darnold, no longer there. Like, think of all the quarterbacks they've gone through, and they still can't find the right one. And if you're going to the draft and get one, I'm not going to trust this front office to bring in the best quarterback coming out of college, because they haven't done it before. So I think that this is what's going on, Cottrell. I feel like that's messed up for Greeny to throw this out there.
Right. And at the end of the day, too, like, if we watched that Jets game, it wasn't like all terrible, like, play calling either. The problem is Justin Fields has the processing speed of a toaster. If you take him off this first read, that's it. He's just holding on to that sucker until somebody hits him. There was a sack he took that he held the ball for 7 seconds. Like, dude, in 7 seconds, you have to know to, either get rid of it or do something with it.
Yeah.
once again, it just feels like you can blame coaching because it definitely wasn't perfect. There was a lot of mind-boggling mistakes made in that game, but
Mhm.
I there's just not enough talent on the field for the Jets to be saying this though. Saying Justin Fields, they just need to start Tyrod Taylor next week and forget that they ever tried this experiment.
And then go through the draft and get somebody.
Yeah.
So Jory's glad Callahan's gone, which Brett and I know that. So Jory, we'll catch you up. Brett threw out the name Joe Brady, Josh Allen's OC in Buffalo. I've thrown out Vance Joseph, Broncos DC, and Brian Flores, Vikings DC for the next head coach. And Jory, I'm sure you know, but I guess Key, if you might have missed it, Mike McCoy will be the interim coach for the rest of the season.
So. Justin Fields is a backup. Yeah, maybe a backup running back, but he ain't no backup quarterback anymore.
But I think maybe, and Key, I'm going to put this up here. This is kind of the bigger point. What is it about the Jets organization that they just can't get it right with quarterbacks? Most quarterbacks do better when they leave. Darnold was seeing ghosts. Now Darnold's like an MVP candidate in Seattle. Rodgers got, hurt and everything. But look, he's with the Steelers. They're 4-1. Maybe not the most dynamic offense, but he's winning there. He couldn't win in New York. Zach Wilson, we haven't seen him get the opportunity. But if you're going off of Darnold, maybe the Dolphins should play Zach Wilson. He may look like a completely different quarterback. So that's probably the bigger issue. And if you're looking at it, if they drafted a quarterback, wouldn't they just break that rookie and he'll probably just be better off when he leaves? Which I guess if you're a Jets fan, that's probably your biggest worry.
I mean, at least getting a rookie in though, that's better than continuing to try to recycle veteran quarterbacks, right? Like that's better than bringing in a Justin Fields. Watch next year, you're going to bring in Russ. Like they have to try something. They have to do something. They got to get an Aaron Glenn guy, or something, and marry the coach to the quarterback and try something. But this whole experiment with Fields just isn't going to work out. Justin Fields is the same guy who he was in Chicago, and that's the problem. His game just never developed.
Yeah. Far to the Jets didn't do bad. But I mean, that was an established vet. I don't know how enticing New York would be for a veteran quarterback right now. I think that would be part of the problem. Like, it almost seems like if you were getting a vet in free agency, you're probably signing a guy who, is like on his way, who was like looking for one last chance to be a starter, and is just going to be like, hey, yeah, I'll try New York. I don't know. They just have to figure something out.
The sales pitch is literally going to be them playing Garrett Wilson highlights in the background.
I guess. Yeah. I don't know. It's a weird situation with New York there. But like I said, I think Greeny was off base there. Let's see. I think next, Brian Branch. So we learned that he got one game for, starting the little brouhaha, I guess you want to call it, with Juju Smith-Schuster after the loss to Kansas City. Is one game good enough for you? Do you think there should have been more?
Probably should have been at least two, but at least he got suspended. The funny part is he's appealing the suspension, and I don't understand it unless his logic is I'd rather be suspended, against, I think they play the Vikings the week after this.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like he's appealing it for the sole purpose of he'd rather play the Bucks than the Vikings. But I don't even get the suspension. Like, why, or appealing it? Like, why? You did it. Like, you're not innocent here. So yeah, I thought it'd be honestly more than one game. I thought it'd at least be a 2 or 3 game suspension, but yeah, I know I'm definitely okay with it. He deserves to be suspended.
Yeah. And also Dan Campbell like apologized to the Chiefs and all that for this. He said unacceptable, not what they do, and everything like that. So I mean, I guess one game, sure. Like I don't think it's the end of the world or anything like that. It was, like I said, wasn't necessarily the best ending to the game, seeing that, but I guess he and Juju were kind of going at it towards the end of the game, blocking the back or whatever. So, emotions riding high, I guess you'll say, is the reason for it. But yeah, I mean, one game's fine. I guess as long as it wasn't like just like a fine and then be like, oh, nothing to see here. I feel like there should have been some type of suspension. Whether it's 1 or 2 games, I guess we can leave that up to those of you watching. If you would have preferred 1 or 2 games, or maybe you thought it should have been even more. What's going on, Mo?
It's good, Mo.
Actually, before we get into picks, we'll kind of use this time to look at, because we did talk about some of the coaches, and then made me think about, besides obviously Callahan getting fired, besides McDaniel being on the hot seat, besides Aaron Glenn supposedly on the hot seat according to Jets fans, who else, now that Callahan's gone, and we know that some teams kind of wait for that first shoe to drop to really evaluate their situation, who are some other coaches that might be looking over their shoulder for that pink slip?
Ooh, like I said, we know McDaniels for sure. Well, he should be done, but knowing the Dolphins, he's probably going to get an extension.
Mm-hmm.
Say, yeah, you know what? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. That's a really good question.
So I'll throw a name out to you.
I'm trying to remember. I'm just blanking on his name, but the coach of the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, Gannon.
Gannon. Yep.
Yeah.
No, that's why I was blanking. So I was like, I know him. I know where he coaches. I don't remember the name, but it feels like Gannon. If this year goes off the rails, he could very well just be a quick out.
Right. I mean, the thing with DeMercado is going to hang over his head, so that would be an interesting choice for sure. And I do wonder, is he a guy that makes it through the season and is probably gone right after? Or, like you said, if it gets really bad, then yeah, he'll probably be gone. I'm going to throw a name. Okay, so Mo says Aaron Glenn is on a lava seat. Okay. So I was thinking like 5-6 games in, it might be a little soon, but that's fair, Mo. I'm going to throw Harbaugh out there. And look, everybody who watches knows I'm the Ravens hater on the network, but everybody questions Tomlin. But you're looking at Tomlin, he's once again overachieving with the Steelers team leading the division. Now, whether or not he wins the division, fine. You look at the bottom of that division, you have Harbaugh. And you can say what you want about the injuries and all that, but that looks like a situation where maybe Harbaugh's been there too long, and there might just need to be a change of voice in leadership. I guess, what do you think about Harbaugh? Do you think his job should be questioned? Do you think he's done enough to earn maybe another year or two to fix what's going on this season? What are your thoughts on him?
I think he's probably sticking around at least till the end of the season, but it feels like that after this year, he could very well be gone too. It's a complicated slope with the Baltimore Ravens, because you do have a very talented team that is just very badly underperforming. that being said, you also have an MVP caliber quarterback, which is something that a lot of teams, dream of having. So I think that he should definitely at the end of the day, I think he should definitely get a long, hard look at the end of the year and probably should just go. It just feels like after a while, the locker room just kind of stops listening to you, or you lose your voice. And it feels like that's where they're at. It just doesn't feel like they're listening to him anymore.
Yeah. Another coach I thought about, and we know going into the season, there were some lofty expectations for him to keep his job. But does the emergence of Jackson Dart save Brian Daboll in your eye?
I mean, I'm down for that. Look, here's the thing with Brian Daboll. He got dealt a pretty just bad hand to start out with. He somehow took Daniel Jones to the playoffs, but then Daniel Jones regrets, and then their solution is here's aging Russ. So I wouldn't mind seeing Daboll get another year. I think I would be okay with that. But that being said, he could very well also be on the hot seat. Unfortunately, sometimes owners aren't as patient as everybody else. So
yeah, but I feel like for the Giants, because you actually have some good energy behind the team right now, do you want to necessarily mess it up and go, hey, Jackson Dart, yeah, you came out, won a couple of games with Brian Daboll, but hey, we're going to give you a new coach that we hope can work with you the same way that Daboll has so far. I feel like that doesn't make a lot of sense. But like you said, a lot of these organizations just love to make change, and sometimes for change's sake. Yes, Brian Daboll's tenure hasn't been great, but I feel like he deserves more time now that Jackson Dart is looking the way he has. McDaniel is fried fish. Well, Jory, according to Adam Schefter, he's hearing that there's not a coaching change happening in Miami anytime soon, which I think is wild to say, but Schefter's hearing, that's what he's hearing. I don't know why, but yeah.
Say Tua player coach.
Yeah, that's what we need to see. Harbaugh needs to make a run to save his job. So that's the part of this where they're 1-5. They have the bye. Lamar's coming back after the bye. At least that's where it's trending. So if you're 1-5 and you're looking at the AFC playoff picture, which I guess we can do here in a little bit. How many wins in the AFC do you think it would take to make the playoffs? I'm gonna say 9 if you're lucky, but probably like 10.
Yeah, and that's just not happening.
Right. So Harbaugh's gonna have to go like 9-2 once Lamar comes back.
And that's definitely gonna be, I think, if they do move on from him, I think that'll be arguably the hottest coaching destination. You get the good quarterback, you theoretically get the good defense. I say Lamar's will be, arguably the best quarterback you can become a head coach for. With the other guy who should be fired, Zach Taylor, coaching Joe Burrow does sound fun too. But overall, I think the Ravens would have just the best head coaching spot available and would attract a lot of great suitors. So that's definitely something that should be considered.
Zach Taylor was the name I was going to bring up because I don't know what to think about Zach Taylor. Like, this year they won a couple of games in September, and we were like, oh, maybe it's something new, but then Burrow gets hurt. Does Zach Taylor get the injury excuse for this year? I mean, look, this is the same organization that Marvin Lewis coached for like 20 years, and a lot of those years weren't that good.
Oh,
so
and Zach Taylor,
I'm just throwing it out there.
Zach Taylor didn't luck his way into a Super Bowl, so he might be there for 20 years.
That's true.
No, you shouldn't get the injury excuse, because if that's the case, what was his excuse last year? Joe Burrow played last year. Joe Burrow
Last
played
year
at
was
a
the slow start. I
Joe
don't know.
Joe Joe Burrow played at an MVP level last year. It just
Yep.
shows that he's just a fraud without Burrow. He's a Joe Burrow merchant.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a guy that should be giving the benefit of the doubt because nothing has looked spectacular with him as soon as you take him away from Joe Burrow. A good coach at least might be able to make a backup look competent. Like, still make the team somewhat function without their star quarterback. They're obviously not going to be as good. That being said, the team's just kind of falling apart without Joe Burrow.
So Jory said he's a fraud without Burrow. Mo says he's a fraud with Burrow. So he's just a fraud. Which, yeah, I mean, look, the Bengals' issues are more than Zach Taylor because obviously the front office deciding not to pay defenders and paying a quarterback and wide receivers. That's obviously an issue in today's NFL, but that's the road that they've gone down. And if you're a prospective coach, the draw to that job is Chase and Burrow. But with that front office, would you want that headache to go there and coach knowing that the money's spent poorly and the history that they've had? How many people are going to be running to get that job?
No.
Callahan got his job by breathing next to Burrow. Yeah.
Right, and that's kind of where I'm at with Zach Taylor, too. Like, he was the quarterback coach of the Los Angeles Rams before coming here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, okay, but how much quarterback coaching are you really giving to Matthew Stafford? Come on now. He literally falls in that same, like, area where it's like, well, in, like, the Adam Gase and Zach Brian Callahan conversation where, well, Brian Callahan might be good. He was, Joe Burrow's offensive coordinator. Like, how much coaching up are you really doing with Joe? And it's like, well, Adam Gase is really good. He worked with Peyton Manning. He was his coordinator. Like, yeah, well, holding Peyton Manning's water doesn't exactly make you the elite offensive mind you think you are. Zach Taylor just seems to fall into the group with those guys where he's not good. He just gets elevated by the talent around him. And as soon as that talent actually needs to be coached, a.k.a. a Burrow injury, the whole operation falls apart.
Yeah. I think Mo's AFC North is dual because the Steelers will come back to the pack. True. But, I mean, they have, 3.5 game lead on the Ravens right now. I feel like the Browns are probably counted out of this. The Bengals, I mean, if Flacco decides to turn back the clock, sure, you might want to keep them in the conversation. But I do think it seems like the North is going to come down to Steelers and the Ravens. If the Steelers come back to the pack, can the Ravens make up 3.5 games? Probably, but have to see it before, obviously, handing them that. And even with Lamar back, they do have to fix a lot of issues, like how to use Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers all of a sudden being like, I guess, mentally lost right now, where he's dropping everything, fumbling and all that. And we already know Zay Flowers is a very emotional player. Look at that AFC title game where, he went nuts after fumbling near the goal line. So, I don't know. The AFC North will be interesting to watch the rest of the way. I couldn't tell you who the best team is in that division right now. I don't know. I mean, is it the Steelers?
Sure.
Exactly. Like,
I can't tell you convincingly that the Steelers are a very good football team, but you know what? They're the best in the NFC North, the AFC North. They got the best record, so you know what? We'll go with it.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't feel like they should be. It feels like Baltimore should be ahead of them. But also, Baltimore just is nowhere near ahead of them. So, But right now, the Steelers, I'll give them credit. They're taking advantage of everybody else falling apart around them, and they're rolling. So, good job, Pittsburgh. I get to see my old man, the GOAT, Aaron Rodgers, in the playoffs one last time.
Look, if that happens, then I feel like all the talk about Tomlin's job maybe can quiet a little bit. I do think he needs to win a playoff game for sure. I think that's where Steeler fans are really kind of going at him is, yeah, you're getting there with these, teams that are mid to all right, I guess, but you still have to win a playoff game at least to make the fan base feel good about the direction the team's going in.
My counter question to that is name the last time he's had a playoff caliber roster to actually win a playoff game with.
That's fair.
Like, people will say that, but not realize to understand that he's dragging a lot of slop to these playoffs. These rosters are, well, obviously they're good in the sense that they, good enough to make the playoffs. Like, clearly you can tell that Mike Tomlin is coaching a lot of these guys up. Like, getting over 500, for example, last year with the Russ and Justin Fields, it's got to be one of the more impressive coaching jobs that you will ever see.
Yeah. And they went on that late run that was like under the radar. And then you got there week 17, you're like, oh, Steelers are actually about to finish 9-8. They were 9-8 last year. So if there's anything you can say about Tomlin, he gets those guys to, squeeze every ounce of their ability to win games in Pittsburgh. But yeah, so just wanted to, I guess, take a quick second there to talk about some other coaches. I guess if, there's any other coaches that you guys in the chat feel like should be on the hot seat, could definitely talk about them as well. All right, but getting to the picks, which obviously the week isn't finished yet because they have the 2 Monday night games, and right now we're teetering. Brett, you're 0-4 right now. I'm 2-2, so I could be, 3-3, 4-2, or 2-4, and not be happy about it. But I feel like this year has been one of the wildest ones to try to predict some of these games because I just don't know what happens on any given Sunday. Like Eagles Giants, we looked at that, was like, oh, easy. Who knew Scatterbo was going to go off and turn into Eric Dickerson just running over guys, and Jackson Dart was going to turn to Mike Vick. Like, look, and the Eagles have some issues that they're going through, so maybe we should have seen that. Chiefs Lions, we talked about with the fight at the end, but the Chiefs, once again, I don't know. They looked great against Baltimore. We thought they were back. Then they lose to the Jags. We're like, oh, maybe slow down. But now they beat the Lions team. So are the Chiefs back? I don't know.
They're my favorite kind of team. They're just big game merchants. They don't show up unless the opponent is worth it.
I guess. And look, it's a recipe to win in January. But I don't know, string together some games here so I can predict a little bit better. We both have Bills tonight against the Falcons, 4.5, and we're split on Commanders Bears. So you have the Bears plus 4.5. I have the Commanders minus 4.5. At least my lock and underdog came through. Now you have your Chargers who did win, but I think they won by 2. So
yeah, they won, but they didn't cover.
Yeah, so it's one of those that really gets you. You picked the right team, but they just couldn't pull through with the cover. And we talked about Titans with the Raiders and leading to Callahan losing his job. So, yeah, lost the game, but coach got fired. Not all
yeah,
bad.
You know what? Long-term thinking. Lose the game, get him out of there, and then maybe the Titans season starts next week.
Hey. Look, a lot of times you get that little jolt of energy with a new voice leading the way, and maybe McCoy gets the offense and those guys rallied around him and they play a little better until they get their new coach in the offseason. All right, we're on to week 7, which once again, it's still crazy how quickly these weeks are moving by, but we're here with another chance to have a better week. So, new to the show, pick the primetime games, and then we pick a favorite that we like and an underdog we like to cover. Pats by 14. Oh, okay. I want to be down with that with you, Jory, but no. I'm scared to think so confidently that they're just going, they'll just go in and win, but never know. So let me get these written down. All right, here we go. So Thursday night, Steelers, Bengals. We were just talking about Tomlin, Rodgers. They're heading over to Cincinnati to face Joe Flacco, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. The Steelers are a 5.5-point favorite. How do you see that one playing out?
My mind is telling me that the Steelers should take care of this one pretty easily. But my mind's been wrong all year, so maybe I should pick the Bengals. But no, I'll go Steelers. I think they'll cover. This is not a good Bengals team right now. Joe Flacco, he found a little bit of a rhythm towards, in the second half of that Packers game. But I don't think it'll be enough against Pittsburgh. They're going to need to turn Aaron Rodgers over a couple times to stay in this one, and I just genuinely don't see that happening.
All right, so you're taking the Steelers minus 5.5. So I'm kind of like you. I'm thinking about this in multiple ways. The first thing is these Thursday night games have kind of been, where everything kind of gets turned topsy-turvy. We just talked about last Thursday. Could this be a game where Flacco and that offense keeps it interesting and it's closer than that 5.5? I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the Bengals plus 5.5. Maybe because it's in Cincinnati. I don't know. Like I said, it's a game that probably shouldn't be close because we know the deficiencies the Bengals have on defense, but I don't know. I'm just throwing a dart at the board right now, hoping for a bullseye. Sunday Night Football. Look at the Falcons all of a sudden being primetime darlings, going from Monday night tonight to playing on Sunday night against the 49ers, Mo's 49ers, who are coming off of a loss. Mac Jones did have a good week. Mac Jones threw for like nearly 400 yards. Kendrick Bourne all of a sudden is Megatron. That connection has carried over from their days in New England. Falcons, look, they're playing the Bills tonight. We'll see how they look there, but the 49ers are a 3-point favorite against the Falcons out in San Francisco or Santa Clara, I believe, where they play. How does that one go down? Do the 49ers cover, or do the Falcons pull a slight upset?
It's kind of a funny game for Sunday Night Football, but yeah, no, I will take I'll take the Falcons covering.
Okay.
You know what? Because let's say, the Falcons, they're looking good tonight. They're moving me. So, you know what? Yeah, I'll take them to cover next week.
Yeah. Falcons are another team. Hard to predict. But I feel like my mentality with the Falcons usually is when they're on the road, don't trust them. I do think Mac Jones has looked really good with the 49ers. And something tells me Kendrick Bourne could have another big game. Now, Jory did say that the Falcons pass rush is showing up tonight. That would be key for them against the 49ers. We know Mac Jones isn't the most mobile quarterback. So if they're going to do something to slow them down, that would be their way. And they did invest a lot into that in the offseason, so it probably does need to show up. But I'll take the 49ers -3.
Okay.
Once again, we have 2 Monday Night Football games next week. Are you a fan of the double Monday Night Football?
I'm fine with it. More football, the better for me.
Yeah,
Plus,
I'm
I
the same way.
stay up late anyway, so them running late doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah. And interesting games on Monday night. Bucks Lions, I feel like that's game of the week material right there. We get Baker, who, as you can see, I got Baker for MVP right now. Close second, Drake May. So, my Patriots fans out there, I'm still showing love to Drake May. I don't know if he's going to be second. I don't know. Sam Darnold's up there too. But Baker and the Bucks head to Detroit. Detroit will be looking to, get back on the winning side of things after the Chiefs game. The Bucks had a great game this past weekend with Baker in that 3rd and 14 run. Like, that's, if he does win MVP, that's got to go in the little video package, because he's not the most, mobile. He's not the quickest guy, but he pulled like the Shane Falco. He shrugged off like 3-4 guys, got to the stick, stretched the ball out, and showed the emotion like Baker does. But now with another tough test, can they go into Detroit and cover against the Lions team with the Lions as a 4.5-point favorite? Who you got in that one?
Oh, man. I'll take the Lions. They disappointed me last week, but I think they'll be angry. They'll be coming for to show that they still got it, give themselves a little bit of a bounce back. That being said, say we saw them lose the Buccaneers. They're weird because I don't know who's going to be healthy for them next week. It seems like every week they lose a new receiver. So,
yeah,
I'll trust the Lions here because I think these injuries, and they're not just like random injuries, they're like key injuries because they're out with Godwin. They lose Edwins, then Ibuka's hurt. So it just feels like they're having too many injuries at key positions. It's going to catch up to them eventually. And if Ibuka, for example, and Evans are out next week, then I think that's just going to catch up against Detroit.
Yeah, I want to go with Baker here. Baker pulls rabbits out of his hat all the time. I'm going to take the Lions in the 4.5 as well. I feel like, especially in Detroit, I think the Lions are going to want to establish some dominance there, get back to their running game, and Goff being good in play action and everything like that. Even though the Bucks defensively aren't a bad team, and Bowles usually has a good plan in place to go up against these teams. But give me Dan Campbell's Lions minus the 4.5. So the other game on Monday night is interesting only because the last time we saw the Texans, they were blowing out the Falcons. But I think there's still questions about how good the Texans are. And then you have the Seahawks where, I know Sam Darnold's reputation isn't great, but you got to give him credit for the second year in a row. He's looking really, really good. And he made some throws. The one to JSN was a great one. Even I guess to go back to the Baker one, the one that he made to Tez Johnson was a great throw. I wanted to mention that. But are the Texans back? Are they legit because they beat the Ravens, but everybody beats the Ravens? And do the Seahawks continue their strong play? The Seahawks are a 3.5-point favorite. Who do you have?
I'll take Seattle. I don't think beating the Ravens really means anything in the year 2024 or 2025. I apologize.
Mm-hmm.
So I will take the Seahawks to cover because I think the Texans still have flaws. It's right now, if you face Baltimore, it doesn't matter. They're the perfect team to face to get your offense right. But we kind of saw that with kind of see it. I think that it's going to be the same struggles as always with the Texans.
Yeah, I like the Seahawks as well. I'm sticking with them. I do think that they'll expose some of those issues that the Texans had before getting to that Ravens game, which the Ravens are on the bye, as we mentioned before, and the Bills will be on the bye after the game tonight. So at least the Ravens can't lose this week, unless you get an Anthony Richardson type thing. That story. And then I saw before we came on, he's out multiple weeks now for injuring his eye with a band before the game. Like, that guy, whatever. But now let's get into our other picks. So obviously going with our favorite that we like. There are some lines in here. Patriots are a 7-point favorite over the Titans. But if you listen to Jory, Jory said the Patriots will win by 14. That's a place you could go. The Rams are a 3-point favorite over the Jaguars in a game that could be pretty interesting. We'll see Lawrence and that Jaguars team against the Ravens team, against the Rams team that beat the Ravens. Didn't look great, but they still got the 2-score win. We have the Saints, who are a feisty bunch. They're playing teams tough, heading to Chicago to face the Bears. Bears are a 4.5-point favorite. This one I don't know how they picked this, but Dolphins and the Browns. The Browns are a 2.5-point favorite over the Dolphins. That might tell you how down bad the Dolphins are. They're a 2.5-point dog against the Browns. Our big line of the week, we love looking at these. The Chiefs are an 11.5-point favorite on the Raiders. Raiders are going into Arrowhead. The Eagles are a 2.5-point favorite over the Vikings. Panthers, don't look out now, but the Panthers are 3-3 and are staying close in that NFC South race. Panthers are 1.5-point favorite, I should say, over the Jets. Jets with another opportunity to get their first win of the season. The Broncos are a 7-point favorite over Dart and the Giants. Jory, what's your nickname for Dart and Scatabo? I'm sure you'll put it in the chat. I can't remember right now. Chargers are a 1.5 favorite over the Colts. Your Packers, 6.5-point favorite over the Cardinals. The Commanders are a 2.5-point favorite over the Cowboys. Where are you going for your favorite?
I'd say this one. I'll keep it close to home. I'll take the Packers beating the Cardinals at least by a touchdown. All right. So I think it'll be a nice and think it'll be a fun game. But at the end of the day, this Packers team should just have no problem picking the Cardinals apart.
I mean, yeah, Kyler Murray didn't play last week. Does Kyler Murray want to play this week? I don't know. He's going through it right now, and that team in general is just. Brissett had his moments, but Jacoby Brissett is a career backup at this point. We talked about Gannon earlier, so this is a game where he can't get embarrassed. But you're going up against a Packers team that has a lot of ways to kind of attack you offensively. Are the Cardinals game for that? I think for my favorite, I will go with. Panthers over the Jets could be an interesting one. Panthers are playing well right now. Rico Dowdle is now like the greatest running back that's ever lived. Which is, hey, good for him.
Generational Jonas Gray type run.
Yep. Does he continue that against the Jets? I don't know if I'm confident.
As long as he's not late for a team meeting and doesn't get benched.
Right. I'm tempted to go. Yeah, I know what? I'll go close to home as well. I'll take the Patriots -7. I do say that game does worry me a little bit after the coaching change, but Drake May right now is playing very confident football, and I love watching it. Kayshon Boutte having a great year. So I'll take the Patriots -7. All right, now where the picks get interesting, our underdog to cover. Where are you going?
Yeah, you know what? I really, really want to. Yeah, Bijan Robinson had an 81-yard touchdown run.
Oh no, the Bills are crumbling. I'm loving it.
Oh, but give me the Giants covering against the Broncos. I think Dartamania here will continue on, and at least they might not win, but I think they'll keep it close.
Giants +7. All right. The Broncos offense hasn't necessarily looked great in a couple of weeks, so I don't think that's too crazy to see happening.
I was looking at the Raiders, but that would require me trusting Geno Smith, and I'm not ready to make that commitment.
How long does he get to start?
Probably all year.
I guess Kenny Pickett doesn't really excite you either.
like he at least will push it down the field and be aggressive. No, can't we
That's
say the
true.
same about Kenny Pickett?
When Geno starts, like you got to keep an eye on it a little bit because he'll pull out a great throw and then follow it with a head scratcher, and you're just like, Geno, come on, man. So
Yeah,
he probably stays though.
say Kenny Pickett, he's just going to be checking it down to the running back and tight end on 5-yard hitches all game. So
Yeah, but I guess to Jory's comment here, this is the most Falcons thing that annoys me because they're playing at home. They're playing really good, and the other part of this is if it starts snowballing the other way, the Bills could make a comeback in this. But maybe the Bills are going through that rough stretch right now where that Patriots game took a lot out of them, and now they might just be wanting to get to the bye, and the Falcons are taking advantage of it. So we'll see if the Falcons can put together two halves and actually get a quality win. Because as I said before, Falcons are 2-2. Panthers are right there on level with them. And if you look at the two teams, you'd say Falcons are a better team, but the Panthers are playing good football right now.
yeah,
I got to do my underdog. So my underdog, I'm gonna go with. Who do I trust here? Colts Chargers is interesting because the Chargers are still beat up. But at some point, does the Colts bubble burst here? Jonathan Taylor, I believe, is the league leader in rushing. I'll do it. Maybe the one time I'll ever pick the Colts. I'll take the Colts plus 1.5 against the Chargers. All right. Those are our picks. I did have one last thing before we do get out of here. What's up, David? I was just like, I wonder what the playoff picture is looking like. If anybody had the playoff picture looking like this before the season started, you might want to go get yourself a lottery ticket. I mean, we're looking at an AFC where the Colts are now. Oh, we're good, David. How are you doing? The Colts are your 1 seed right now. Steelers are your 2. The Bills are the 3. Chargers are the 4. Jags are the 5. Broncos 6. Patriots are 7. But then you look even more at the numbers. It's the Jags out of those top 7 have the lowest playoff probability percentage at 61%. And then the Bills, if they are currently 92%, if they win tonight, they go up to 95. If they lose, they drop to 88. But I guess who in the AFC do you feel like might be on the shakiest ground of being a playoff team? Who still has something to prove to you, I guess. Might be a better way to put it.
I feel like the Patriots are too boring of an answer, so give me the Jaguars. Here's the thing about Jacksonville. I want to see them. I like Jacksonville. I like the start that they're off to. My concern is with them. They're obviously turning the ball over at a really nice amount. They already have like 14. They forced 14 turnovers to start the year. But it just seems that they're not turning the ball over. Getting turnovers are kind of getting diced up. So I think all the teams are questionable, but I'm a little concerned on Jacksonville that if the turnovers, stop, will they be able to actually, keep up with everyone else? But overall, I want to also give them credit for putting themselves in this position. Denver, Denver's a playoff team last year. Them, the Colts, and the Patriots are all killing it.
If this continues, after tonight, the Patriots would be the AFC East leader. It would be the 3 seed. I'm just saying. Maybe Buffalo's mentally beat up right now. And I will tell you, I guess AFC wise, the other teams. Oh, where is it? Well, I think I remember, but the Ravens have the highest playoff probability of teams that aren't in the playoffs. Their
Well,
playoff probability is like 68%.
the Ravens?
I think so. It's a lot higher than you think it is.
All right. Well,
I'll
that's the
tell you.
Lamar effect.
I hold on, I'll tell you right now. I thought I had it ready to go, but hold on. They have the highest percentage out of the teams not in the playoffs right now. That I do remember. Here we go, playoff picture. Buffalo's getting exposed. Yep. It's either that or the Falcons are playing up to their ability, which they don't do consistently. Let's see. No, I had the wrong percentage. Sorry. The Chiefs have the highest percentage at 62%. Would you like to guess the Ravens percentage though?
I feel like that's something that still will end up feeling way too high. Give me 58%.
It's 37%.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I actually nailed it. For some reason, like I wanted to guess, I was thinking it should be somewhere like I was thinking maybe like 40, but I'm like, they love to overrate them a little bit, so I'll give them a nice boost.
Yeah. I wish Will was in here because the Saints have a 3% chance.
Okay.
Saints have a chance. They're not even the worst. The Jets have a 1% chance, which actually moved up because earlier it was less than 1%. It's now 1%.
I'm shocked that the Titans don't only have a 1% chance. Is that just because of
They
the
actually
division
do.
that they're in?
Yeah, they have 1% as well. Well, hey, we'll see. Crazy.
Do you believe in miracles?
Hey, just tell Will, sprinkle some money. That 3% might become a billionaire. NFC, Bucks are your 1 seed. Your Packers are the 2. The Niners, then the Eagles, Seahawks, Lions, Rams, and obviously just outside would be the Vikings, the Commanders. Those Panthers are 10th. They're right there. Who's on the shakiest ground in the NFC?
Shakiest ground in the NFC. You know what's funny? I really like all these teams. Probably Tampa. It's weird. It's weird when it comes to them, and I don't even think it's per se the idea that they're a bad team. It feels like that they just keep getting hit with these key injuries, and there's always the idea that they'll all heal up at the right time, but something tells me that if these injuries keep piling up, then they might just end up falling out sooner than people think. Really, no fault of their own, but in like non-injury related teams, like it's so tough. Like you almost want to say Philly, but at the same time, they're probably fine. Like the NFC at the end of the day feels like it has the right teams in the wrong order. Like that's the best way I can explain it. Like if you ask me about playoff predictions before the year started, this does feel like the right group of teams. They're just not in the order you'd expect them. That's why this is so hard for me.
By the way, give me the upset tonight with the Bears by 9. All right, John. What happens? We'll definitely remember that. I guess the tough part would be if the Bucks are on shaky ground, then you trust the Panthers or the Falcons to overtake them. And even with the Eagles, it's like if they're not there, you trust the Commanders to kind of knock them out. I kind of agree with you. If you looked before the season, these would probably be your 7 teams for the NFC. Maybe Commanders might be in for somebody else because I know the Commanders came in with a lot of hype as well. Vikings, depending on how you felt about JJ McCarthy, maybe you would have had them in. But yeah, for the most part, the NFC looks more like the consensus than the AFC. A lot of these
Yeah.
teams in the AFC you would never have thought would be up there.
AFC looks really weird. The NFC looks perfect. So,
I mean, some potential. If this holds true, some interesting matchups would be a wild card. Steelers Patriots with their history. Chargers Jaguars, which we had that game a couple of years ago. Packers Rams would be a lot of fun. Jordan Love, Matt Stafford. Niners Lions, two teams that kind of lean defensively. Eagles Seahawks, like, yeah, a lot of fun. But surprised you didn't say Vikings wouldn't have been on this list to start the season.
I mean, it's fair, but at the same time, it's still a team with a lot of talent and Brian Flores. So, did I pick them to make the playoffs to start the year? No. But that being said, I said it's a very real possibility that they do.
Mhm.
They're tough in the sense that because of the quarterback play, you don't know. But you look at the rest of the roster, and you're like, yeah, this is a playoff team. But then you backtrack, like, okay, but J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah.
Well, now Carson Wentz, which is probably even worse than J.J. McCarthy at this point.
Mm-hmm. The Vikings are the team that's right outside as the 8th seed, and they have a 30% chance to make the playoffs. The best team not in the playoffs right now, Commanders, who are the 9th seed, would be, if they win tonight, 59% chance to make the playoffs. They're currently 52. But if they do lose tonight, it drops all the way down to 39%. So,
say all of Josh Allen's throws tonight are like low. It's like the third throw that's hit the ground for him.
like I said, some of these teams, when they see that bye on the horizon, they kind of lose focus.
And that's
they may just need to make it to halftime just to regroup tonight, and then definitely need that bye to come for them.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It just feels like that they need to compose themselves. Like, I don't know if they're playing too excited or whatnot, but yeah, no, Josh has just got to get some of these throws up, and it's a different ball game.
I think that means the Patriots broke them. The Drake May experience. Josh Allen looked in the mirror and saw a better quarterback. I'm kidding, of course. Wait, John, that you're in here. How about our Patriots, John? How you feeling about them? I believe that is all I had. Yeah. So close that. I'll give John a couple seconds if he wants to say something. But yeah, so if you're tuning in, we should be on Monday nights going forward. So set your calendar for on the ball Monday nights from now on. A lot of fun, and as we said, next week will be in NBA mode. It'll be the night before tip-off. I'm already hearing that NBC theme in my head. I'm so here for hearing it the first time in the regular season. Feeling good. We actually have a wide receiver 1, but still need some more help. Quarterback playing very good, like I thought. There we go. See, Jory, you can now enjoy your Sundays, not yelling at Callahan. Now you can just sit back, watch the games, and be like, who's going to be the next coach?
That is the nice part about this little stretch where you don't really have a head coach. It's like, well, we don't got to worry about anything anymore.
20+ straight 5 games at the young age. He joins Manning and Mahomes. Yeah, I saw that stat. Yeah, Drake May's entering into some interesting, not conversations, obviously, but like interesting stat lines and stat trajectory. He looks very smooth and confident in the pocket. I do like that.
And he looks very comfortable out of structure, too. He's just very special. He's seeming like a special talent.
Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, that's all we have. Let you go ahead and enjoy the games. Like I said, once again, for NBA, we'll be back next week with some predictions, some, I don't know, probably some award projections as well. Because you guys already know, Brett's a big NBA guy. I love me some NBA as well. So we're gonna have a lot of fun next week. I guess the question to close out: do we see Sanders in the next 2 weeks?
No.
I
Actually,
say
maybe.
Gabriel's gonna have to look terrible this week for it to happen. If not, I would say no.
Say my mind's telling me no. I think we will see him, but I think it might be like in those like last like 3 or 4 weeks. You know what? If it keeps if it keeps Giannis happy, I'm cool with it. Like whatever.
Yeah. So how does Shams feel about that? Yeah. Giannis is trying to get to New York, and then they sign his other brother.
Shams is probably just going to drop a report like, "Oh well, they're going to have to trade for all 3 of them now."
But yeah, his last name is tough to spell. I actually think I'm not going to try it because there's vowels in there that'll trip you up. There's T's it's a lot. But I knew what you meant when you put Mutombo, John. So yeah, I did see that like right before we came on that they signed the third brother.
Yeah, at the end of the day, when we're talking about keeping Giannis happy, if we have to sacrifice our 15th spot on a roster and a 2-way contract for that, then that's a bullet I'm willing to bite. So overall, it's fine because those 2 positions probably weren't really going to impact our season this year anyway. So I'm cool with it.
At least one night this year, the 3 of them have to get on the court together.
Hey, we'll do it against the Lakers. We can have Brandon Bronny versus Giannis, Thanasis, and Alex.
I think you did it, Jory. Wait, I think there's an N randomly in there too.
Yeah,
that's actually pretty close.
The challenge with Antetokounmpo is it spells out like pretty much. It pretty much spells out like exactly how it sounds, but it sounds so weird, right? Like
Antetokounmpo. Yeah, I think that just missed that N.
Yeah, no, she pretty much nailed it. There's just the N in there. Oh,
6-0 Bears. Okay. Yeah. Look, go ahead.
Say, look, I need one of my teams to at least win. I can't have a winless week and pick them this week.
I actually think that is it.
Like I said, it's kind of it spells out exactly how it sounds, but it just doesn't sound right. It just sounds weird.
Yeah.
But
I think the first thing is if you get how to say it correctly, you'll be able to spell it. Yeah, that is true. Like I said, we'll talk a lot more about the exactly. There you go. We'll talk a lot more about the Antetokounmpos and all the other developments for the NBA next week. I do think we'll have some fun with that, and we'll still talk NFL as well.
We're gonna spend half the show breaking down the decision 2. Don't even worry about it.
I'm ready for the decision 3 when he goes to the retirement home. That's what
we're gonna think, and then it'll just be like, I'm taking my talents straight down to South Beach again.
Yeah, then it'll be I'm taking my talents to Vegas to be a player, coach, GM. Like,
what would you do if LeBron joined the Celtics?
That's gonna test me that day. That will test me for sure. How does Scotty get called for target? Well, actually, there is like a targeting type thing for running backs, I think, but it's very rarely going to be called. If you took that away from Scatterbo, he wouldn't know how to run anyway. But yeah, so NFL, NBA next week. Then we'll actually start, breaking down NBA stuff after that because we'll have live games going on. Can't wait for it. Brett, anything you want to add before we get out of here?
No, it was a lot of fun. You can definitely also join Mo and I on And One on Thursday if you want some more NBA predictions and previews. It's going to be a great time. And of course, I think we're getting Kyle on Thursday too.
That's right. That is the plan. I'm gonna try to be on and one. That's gonna be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
I guess yeah, I'm excited for it. You'll see me back on here Thursday, Sideline to Sideline, and then Friday, Passion and Precision. But a lot of great shows on here. You have Sports Report coming up in a little bit. There's a lot of fun on that show. You should tune in for that. And then in the morning, got Coffee and Sports, obviously, to get you going. So make sure you check out all the great shows on the network. Enjoy the rest of your week, the rest of your night. We'll see you next week. All right. Bye.